welcome to 3 Minute Warning,
the show where we take 5 of the hottest topics in sports and break them down into 3 minutes or less. My name is Michael Medina. With me, as always, is my good buddy David Griffin.
We're also joined by Stephen Fox today, our producer up in the booth. Say hello, Stephen.
What's up, guys?
Well, we're going to get right into it today, talking about some NBA, specifically. Yesterday's a lot of big news broke, of course. You had the Aaron Hernandez trial, the decision there. But there was some NBA news as well that broke out that was a little bit, of course, a little bit minor compared to what the Aaron Hernandez case. Tyus Jones from Duke has announced that he is going pro. He had an amazing game in the NCAA championship game against Wisconsin, 23 points, MVP. He's a little shorter, though. I mean, back in the day, he's a little small. I mean, small is 6'2" in the NBA. That's small for the NBA. So we're going to ask the question, does size matter in terms of point guards? Look at most of the point guards like Jason Kidd, 6'4", Rose, 6'4", even Steve Nash, 6'4". All those guys are typically 6'4". Derek, Dwayne Wade, 6'5".
Allen Iverson was like 6'1".
6'1". So we're looking like, does size matter? And specifically, I want to talk about a guy, John Stockton, who's about an inch shorter, about 6'1", amazing point guard. Not super big guy, just, he's kind of getting a little older there, but a really tough player. The thing is, he's a smart player.
Yes.
And I guess that's the thing, is what makes a good point guard when you're not 6'4", 6'5".
Well, that's the thing. Being a point guard, first of all, you're basically the quarterback of your team. You're out there setting stuff up, so you really have to be smart and know how to read defenses. And that's why you look at someone like John Stockton, you look at a Nash. That's what these guys are. They're captains out there. They're quarterbacks. Tyus had an amazing run in the tournament. Great national championship game, got MVP, deservedly so. Again, based off that game alone, I was like, yeah, he'll probably go pro. He had a great game, whatever. I know we kind of talked about this before. Maybe he should stick around another year. Yeah. Maybe it wouldn't hurt to maybe grow into his body a little bit.
Well, the three guys, I thought he would be the one to stick around more.
Because, again, NBA is a completely different ballgame from NCAA. It's totally different. It's a way more physical sport than it is in college. So you definitely have to make sure you can hang with the big boys. Because you look at guys like, I mentioned Allen Iverson. This is a guy that played way bigger. He had a much bigger heart than his actual body. He's 6'1", but, he left it all there on the court. He was so physical.
He was bruised after every game.
I think eventually that kind of, ended his career a little bit, because, you can only do so much when you're working with so much physically. So you want to make sure you can handle it. Look at Derrick Rose when he came into the league. He wasn't the biggest guy out there, but he put some size. If you want to go even further back, look at Scottie Pippen. Read up on Scottie Pippen. He was pretty scrawny. And I remember reading an article that I guess Jordan helped put him on some workout regimen and kind of beef up and get stronger, and became one of the 50 greatest players ever. So I think Tyus would benefit from another year. But
Or if we don't put it on bulk, Stockton was not a physical specimen. He's in good shape. These guys are in great shape, but he wasn't ripped or anything. But Stockton, again, smart.
It didn't hurt that he had Karl Malone, though.
He did have Karl Malone. Yeah, he did have Karl Malone. Very smart player, great player. But let's see the NFL. Let's talk about undersized. Look at Russell Wilson. Look at a Drew Brees versus Peyton Manning. Look at 6'6" versus 5'11", 6 foot. You can still make it work. Again, I think it's about intelligence. Just that when you're undersized, it does put you at a little bit of a disadvantage.
Of course.
But I think you can work through it.
Of course. You go, look at the history of the game. Look at Muggsy Bogues, Spud Webb.
Real 5'3".
Those
real
guys,
short.
those guys are really down there and stuff. But yet, if they're good enough to play in the league, they're good.
Yeah, they're good. So, I'm hopeful for Tyus Jones. Of course, as a Duke fan, I want him to do well. It's one of my Dukies. I want him to do well, so I'm excited. So we're going to go ahead and go to the next topic here. We're going to go into some NFL. First, we're going to talk about a little more positive stuff in the NFL right now, and look at famous Jameis. Famous Jameis Winston has scored a high Wonderlic score, which is an aptitude test for quarterbacks, but it's not as important as it used to be, but it's still an indicator of, intelligence and wherewithal and things that you're going to need to succeed as a quarterback in the NFL.
I'm assuming a lot of those questions probably had something to do with crab legs.
Yeah, crab legs. Yep.
How to season them right.
How to yell in an auditorium. And, Jameis has not made the best decisions off the field, but he is a smart kid. 2 years in a row, academic honors for ACC. He was accepted to Stanford. Tiger Woods went to Stanford. Jameis is not. He's not stupid. Off the field, maybe he doesn't have a lot of common sense, but he's a smart kid. Peyton Manning has a score, I think, 28. Rodgers is in the 30s. Yeah, so he's up there with the top quarterbacks. What do we think about this? As Jameis, as a starting QB, we always talk about him. Wonder how he's going to be. It seems like his head it's getting better. His head is on the right shoulders right now.
He's definitely been saying the right things. He's been watching his back, and that's smart. That's what you want to do, because right now it's all about like marketing yourself. He's trying to get drafted, so he's doing what he has to do, and that's smart. You look at the Wonderlic scores, though. I know we talked about it's kind of, I don't know, a little antiquated. It doesn't really mean anything, because I know, David and I both read an article talking about, was it Blaine Gabbert?
Yeah, it's like
The quarterback
had
like a
42.
40-something, and look how that worked out.
Yeah, he's
you
not
know what I
doing
mean?
so
So
well.
it doesn't necessarily guarantee or mean that you're going to be an upper echelon quarterback. Nonetheless, this is a good sign.
Yeah.
This is a good sign for, because this is the thing. I talked about, like, again, we kid about, like, the crab legs and, like, the swearing vulgarities, all that stuff. But, I mean, these are things that he has to carry with him going into the league, and these are things that teams are going to look at. So right now, again, he's doing the right things. He's saying the right things. This is good. So, like, if I'm, a general manager, I'm going to see this. I'm like, all right, I might be willing to take a chance on a guy like this. He's been looking pretty decent, too.
Yeah. Also, was a rumor right now about Phillip Rivers possibly being traded to Tennessee for a second pick in the draft, which would leave them, the option of maybe getting Mariota or Jameis Winston. Really interesting. What do you think about Phillip Rivers possibly going to Tennessee Titans?
Man, Tennessee, that's kind of a lost cause right now. I feel
know.
like that's a team that really should just, like, not even worry about drafting somebody like Rivers. Trading for someone like Rivers. Just draft. Just get rid of as many talent, as many players as you can get, and just start from the ground up. Just start drafting. Jake Locker didn't work out for him, unfortunately.
Fitzy was over there. Ryan Fitzpatrick was there for a little while.
Rivers, that's not the place for him.
Yeah, I mean, ever since Chad Johnson kind of went downhill.
Chad Johnson,
Chad Johnson. Ocho Cinco's not playing. They just haven't been the same team that they were. Not a bad team, but they need some work. Yeah. They need some work. I hope Phillip Rivers doesn't have to go to a bad team to end his career.
No, and Mariota had a pretty decent score as well. So
he did,
I mean,
yeah.
Two of the most highly touted players, looking pretty good.
Smart guys, but doesn't matter. We'll see. The proof is in the pudding. We'll see what happens. We're gonna go right on. We're gonna talk about some more. We can keep going. We'll talk about some more NFL, specifically Aaron Hernandez this time. Of course, the decision came in yesterday. Found guilty on all charges. Life in prison without parole. Of course, it's going to be appealed. I guess what came out of yesterday more than anything, Odin's his mother spoke. The victim's mother spoke. Very stirring talk about forgiveness and everything. You should watch it. It's online everywhere. What did you think about that?
This is what we were saying yesterday. So obviously, what Aaron Hernandez, I'm not saying I feel bad for him. I mean, he was an idiot. He made a horrible choice, and I hope that he can learn from this, and other players can learn from this as well. But again, I feel bad for his family, because these are the people that are not for for Aaron Hernandez's family, but then also for Odin Lloyd's as well, because these are the people that are suffering the most. Because again, if you're Odin Lloyd's mother, I mean, she lost her kid. I believe she said she had 3 kids. He was her only boy, so you could tell, like, when she was giving her speech, how much this hurt her, and I mean, why wouldn't it, So, but I thought it was really big of her at the end to basically say that, I forgive him, but I hope others can as well.
Yeah, I noticed there were some comments yesterday on Twitter, and love hearing from all you. Hashtag 3MW here at the stream.tv. Send in your thoughts and comments. This is a very sensitive subject. I think some people thought that we were being maybe too sympathetic for Aaron Hernandez. And it's not that we were being sympathetic for Aaron Hernandez, because if you're guilty of a crime, you got to face the consequences. You got to do what you do. But I think what we're sad about and feel bad for is the family, even Hernandez's family, because his mom, his fiance, if this appeal doesn't go through, if he's convicted of all these things, he is going to be separated from his family for the rest of his life. Maybe they can do visits and things, but he's never going to have a life with his family, and that's his fault if he's guilty.
Yeah.
But, it's still a sad thing to see families. Anytime a family's broken up,
Absolutely.
It's a sad thing.
Imagine if you're like Aaron Hernandez's mother, and, it's not like she didn't have anything to do with this.
No,
so imagine
right.
you find out that your son, your child, is involved in something like this, regardless of whether or not it's their fault. That's still going to eat you up to think that your son is gone for life. You can visit them, but gone. You're never going to be able to have them in that same capacity that you did before.
When these stories always happen, it's just sad because, Aaron Hernandez, 2012, Michael, you were saying this yesterday, $40 million contract, $12 million signing bonus just to sign. Gets $12 million just to sign. I mean, this kid's, and then what, he would have been 23?
Yeah,
he would have signed another big contract if he had, he was a good player. The tight end position, great player. I mean, it's sad that all he has to do is just play football for the rest of his life. It's a very nice position to be in, but as we see with the money and that power and everything, I mean, lives can crumble. Not everybody is John Stockton, as we were mentioning earlier.
That's the thing. And like I said, a lot of players out there that kind of want to continue to live that lifestyle that are also young. Like I said, I hope they can learn from this because, again, playing pro sports, doesn't matter what sports, pro sports, that's such an amazing opportunity that some people dream of that they'll never accomplish this. Yeah. They'll never get to this point. So the fact that you're here, you've got to just embrace it and just, appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, tough times. Aaron Hernandez trial, stuff's going to keep going. Like AJ Lawrence was here yesterday saying that's going to go for years. We got like more appeals coming. This is going to be a long process. We're going to keep you informed on that here at 3 Minute Warning. We're going to the next topic. Talk about some NBA. Kobe Bryant again has taken it. Kobe's been like preaching this last week.
Got nothing else to do. He's not playing.
They need to put him in as head of the players' organization, the union. Because I mean, he is just going around. Today he was talking about, or yesterday talking about LeBron, sticking up for LeBron. Some people online, people for years have been criticizing LeBron because, he had to win a championship with this, and this. The great thing is that Kobe did, I think he's speaking truth, is that on Twitter he was like, look, every great player has always had a good supporting cast. Michael Jordan had Pippen's one of the greatest players of all time. Top, 20, 30 players. I mean, he's a great player. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Magic Johnson, they all had great talent surrounding him. Nobody's done it on their own. Allen Iverson tried.
This is a good.
He couldn't do it, right? Allen Iverson tried. He couldn't do it. I think that's the thing that, everybody loves Jordan so much, but it's like Jordan, if Jordan had Allen Iverson's team, they wouldn't win a championship. I don't think so.
It's true, but
I don't think so.
If I may, David, if I may add a little something to that.
Here comes Michael.
Now, here's the thing. I get the point that he's making. You're absolutely right. Jordan couldn't win those titles by himself. It's impossible. Here's the thing, though. This is different. Jordan got drafted to the Bulls, did what he had to do. Then Scottie was also drafted by the Bulls. So Scottie and Jordan grew together. Okay, it wasn't. Let's look at somebody like Magic Johnson. Magic Johnson was drafted by the Lakers. Kareem came over. So these are guys that gelled. It wasn't like Magic said, you know what? I see what Chicago's doing there, and I see Jordan, I see Scottie. Hey, I want to go over there because I want to win something. This is what guys later in their career that are desperate to win a title do. Charles Barkley did it when he went to Houston.
Karl Malone did it.
Karl Malone went to the Lakers.
Yeah.
Clyde Drexler did it when he went to Houston. So the fact that's the difference here. So you look at let's say Kobe and Shaq even. I mean, Shaq, went to the Lakers. Kobe was drafted. They had years to gel and play well off of one another. Obviously, it didn't end well, but still, nonetheless, they had that. With LeBron, he didn't do that. That was Wade's team. He said, hey, Bosh, I'm going to go over here. Let's go form a super team and win a couple titles.
Yeah.
That's different. He goes, oh, yeah, now I'm ready to go back to Cleveland because, hey, Kevin Love's thinking about coming and joining me. And, hey, you guys just happen to already have one of the greatest point guards in the league right now. I'm sorry. That's different. That's basically you being a mercenary because you want to win a title and you already see that the pieces are in place. Jordan didn't have any pieces already set in place. Those guys played well because of him, and they worked together as a team. So I'm sorry. That's a bull statement. I'm going to say that forever. Anyone that thinks differently, you're wrong. I'm sorry. It's different. It's I don't know. It drives me nuts.
It's interesting though. I mean, I don't have, obviously Michael's very emotional about this thing, but it's interesting. Basketball is one of the few sports where we focus on this. Michael and I both love European soccer. We never criticize Real Madrid. They build super teams every year. For some reason, basketball has, and maybe baseball has that kind of identity as homegrown, but European football, Chelsea is my favorite team. They buy the heck out of some players, and I'm happy for it. Forget homegrown. I want championships. I don't care about homegrown. I want championships.
I'm a Cub fan. I'm thirsty
I want championships, exactly. So we're going to go right into some soccer. Our last topic today, talking about Champions League. Speaking of buying large amounts of players, but you know what? Even when you buy players, look at the Yankees, one of the highest payrolls in the world. You still can't win.
Yeah.
And especially, we're going to go right now into Porto, a Portuguese pro team, played Bayern Munich, one of the biggest German pro team in the world, one of the highest grossing teams in the world. And they got whooped. They got beat 3-1 yesterday in Porto, or in Portugal. They got beat.
Yep. But you know what? That could change when they go back to Bayern.
It could happen. Porto was my upset team, though.
I've
been picking Porto because I think they're legit. I think they're a legit team.
I think you're right. I think they're definitely playing up to the hype right now in the Champions League. Thing is, again, Bayern did get that draw against Shakhtar. And then just blew up on them in that second game, 7-1.
Huge.
So again, I'm not saying that this is going to happen again, but they are going back to Bayern. This is still Bayern Munich. This is one of the best clubs in the world. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
And they're loaded with talent. So I mean, I mean, they would have to obviously do a lot of work.
Yeah.
But I think they're definitely good enough and capable, more than capable enough of doing it.
It should be good, and they'll play next week, of course. Should be a good game. I mean, and then we look at a team maybe more like Barcelona, who played yesterday as well. And Barcelona had a more, I think what we thought would happen. They won 3-1. Luis Suarez, 2 goals. They're playing really well right now, top of La Liga right now. I think Barcelona, is one of my favorites. I think to go to the finals, even if they play Real Madrid. Real Madrid didn't look as impressive. Real Madrid this week as well had a 0-0 draw, 0-0 draw at Atletico Madrid. Tough match. I think Atletico's tough. They're always strong. But I think Barcelona's playing well right now. I really think Porto's playing well. Porto, I think, could be the upset, the Cinderella story, if you will, of this tournament.
I don't know. I know a few weeks back I talked about Barcelona, and I talked about how they were starting to gel and coming together at the right time. And that's just the way it is in sports, especially like when you come to like postseason, or in this case, like tournaments. And you get out at the right time. You can ride that all the way to a championship. And they have, Neymar, Suarez, Messi. I mean, this is a great trio that they have right now. And the fact that they're now coming together, I mean, they're looking good. I mean, right now, I've got to say Barcelona is my favorite.
Yeah, I would say Barcelona's my favorite, possibly Porto ups. It depends what happens. I mean, whoever goes on from this round into the semis, like if Barcelona and Porto are playing, then, who knows. But I think Barcelona's tough right now. I want to touch on real quick, we're out of time. USA played Mexico yesterday in San Antonio, and USA won 2-0.
It's a good win. It's a good win.
2-0. USA still, doing some good things in the World Cup and still doing some good things against Mexico, which is a great rivalry, by the way.
Prove some people wrong out there.
I mean, USA, it's growing out here. It's getting better. You saw the World Cup. You saw the people gathering around the parks around the country and watching the matches together. It's getting big. I mean, it's growing. MLS is growing every year.
It's going to take a few years, but
it'll take a few years.
It's moving in the right direction.
It's not quite the NFL yet, but it's getting there. We have the new team in Orlando, of course. We got New York FC right now. LA looks like they might be getting a new team. So I mean, it's a good time for soccer. A good time to get in it. Watch some MLS. Support your local team if you're not already in Europe, and you got tons of local teams. So that's our show for today, folks. We're out of time. That was it. A lot of good topics today. This is 3-Minute Warning. #3MW. Send in all your thoughts and questions. Tomorrow we have our Clubhouse segment, which is going to be the Megan LaMontagne, AJ Lawrence, Michael Medina, and myself are going to be there. And again, I'm David Griffin. You can find me as always on Twitter at GriffinDE.
And you can also find me on Twitter at Mr. Michael Alexis, and David and myself right here on the Stream.TV on the Arrow After Show.
And we'll be here tomorrow with some more 3-Minute Warning.